in this video we're going to be reviewing the Shure SM7B microphone, deciding what it's good for and whether it's worth the hefty price tag. If you've looked into upgrading your microphone, whether that be for YouTube, for podcasts, or for live streaming, likely you'll have seen the Shure SM7B recommended a lot. But who exactly is it for? This microphone is an XLR cardioid dynamic microphone, so to be able to use it you're going to need an audio interface, which allows for an XLR microphone connection. You'll often see people using the Focusrite Scarlett for this. I personally use the Native Instruments Complete Audio 6, but any audio interface that takes XLR will be fine for this microphone. It being a dynamic microphone means it's designed for close proximity application, so something like this where the microphone is pretty close to your audio source, in this example my voice, and you can hear the closer the better. If I move further and further away, yes, you can still hear it, but I'm not at a good angle towards the microphone, and as I move further and further away, I'm talking at the same volume. Clearly it's not going to pick it up quite as loudly, but that effect will be more noticeable than, say, a condenser microphone. And also, the further away you move from the microphone, the less warm and kind of natural sounding the tone will be from the microphone. It's primarily designed for close-up use. The cardioid pickup pattern also means that you want to be talking directly into the top of the microphone. Should we call it the top? Yeah, the top of the microphone. Now, it does pick up your voice around the sides, so if I go around like this, it does still pick it up, but you will notice that it is not quite as clear than when you are talking directly into the top of the microphone. So that is worth bearing in mind when using this microphone, that you really want to be able to get it into a position where you can talk directly into the top of the microphone. So let's have a quick look at what you get with the Shure SM7B. The microphone comes nicely packaged, but it is quite light on extras. There's the manuals, a Velcro strap, a back plate which goes on the back of the microphone, and an additional windshield. Not really much else other than that. The microphone is quite heavy at just over 1 kilogram. But it has a robust metal finish which looks and feels very good quality. Now there are 2 switches on the back which are for a low cut filter and a mid boost switch to change the tone of your audio. So you can kind of cut those lower frequencies or just boost the middles, which can help certain voices sound a little bit richer. I personally just leave these on the flat settings, which should be the default setting, and do any additional changes to the audio in software afterwards. If you're enjoying the video, please consider subscribing to the channel and dropping a like on the video. It helps me out a lot. So usually for my videos, you won't see this microphone in shot, even though it is the microphone that I use. So I'm probably not using this microphone to the best of its abilities for my YouTube videos, but I find that my room, which is quite echoey and sometimes has a bit of background noise, I do need to use a dynamic microphone, so I'm not picking any of that up. But when I'm recording my YouTube videos, normally I'm probably around 30 centimeters away, maybe kind of that kind of distance away, so you can hear the difference that makes to the tone of this microphone. So preferably, if you have the choice, you don't mind the microphone being in shot if you're recording a video, you want to have it around here. Maybe you don't want to be really eating the microphone, because then you might start picking up P's and plosive kind of sounds a lot more, but around here should be around ideal. So if you don't mind having the microphone in shot, as I say, then that is perfect. Or if you're recording podcasts or doing voiceover work, something like that, where you won't be seeing the microphone anyway, then it is perfect for that type of work. And as I say, if that isn't an issue, the closer you are to the microphone, the warmer, kind of natural, kind of more familiar sound that you would expect from a high-end microphone starts coming through. This is an extremely popular microphone and is used by probably a lot of podcasts and videos that you will have already seen. So the sound of this microphone, I think, is very familiar, especially when it is set up correctly. This is the smaller windshield that comes on as default, which is essentially built in. This means that you shouldn't have to use a pop shield to stop plosive kind of P sounds from coming through too much and wrecking the sound of your audio. Now, I'm hoping right now they aren't coming through too badly, but you can use the bigger windshield that came in the box if it is starting to come through, or use a separate pop shield. But I generally find this is absolutely fine for this kind of proximity and further away for those plosives to not come through too much. So if you're thinking, well, this sounds good, but I just can't have the microphone too close to me, then this isn't going to be the microphone for you. As I showed before, the further and further away you move from it, not only is it quieter, but you lose the warmth of the audio, which makes it sound so great. So if you do really need a microphone that's further away from you, you're going to need to be considering a condenser microphone. Now, they're still really high quality, but they pick up a lot more sound in general. So that's great because you can put them further away and you can pick up your voice more, but it does mean that you'll pick up other background noises as well. Now, if that's not an issue, then go for it. I think a condenser is probably a better fit. But for me personally, and I think especially if you are just want to target the audio in not quite directional, because the cardioid does pick up quite a range, but it really is only at the very top that you get the best audio quality, then a dynamic microphone such as the SM7B is a good choice. Now, as an example of hopefully not picking up too much background noise, I'm going to do a bit of typing now. So this is just a normal kind of membrane keyboard, but it's got reasonably clacky keys. I'm sure you will be able to hear that, but hopefully it won't be too bad. So if you were live streaming where you were playing a game or something like that at the same time, hopefully that won't get in the way too much. And of course, if it is picking it up a little bit too much, you can always just move your mic position a little bit further away from that extra source, and then you should still get a really nice, clear voice without background sounds really getting in the way. Now, one of the biggest downsides of this microphone and all dynamic microphones is that the signal that they provide is extremely quiet. This means the signal going into your software or whatever software you're using to broadcast yourself if you are live streaming, the signal will be extremely quiet. Now, you can look on the screen here that this signal is reasonably okay at the moment, but that's because I've got the gain turned up quite high, probably to around 60% on my Native Instruments Complete 6, but I'm also using a microphone booster, which is an extra little bit of hardware which will boost the signal. I think it boosts it about 30 decibels. I think the default signal is minus 59 on this microphone, which is extremely quiet. It helps reduce those background noise quite a lot, and it means that you can have a very clear signal, and also means that you could use this microphone for very loud situations, for loud singing, or someone who was just a lot louder than I am. It's a perfect microphone for that. It's not going to blow out and distort pretty much at any point, but it does mean that your signal will be very quiet. So I do recommend that you need to use a signal booster and turn the gain up quite a lot. This is frustrating because a microphone booster is something else that you will have to buy. Something like the Cloudlifter CL1 costs around $150. It's a lot more money to pay for something you've already paid a lot for. Thankfully, there are some cheaper options for microphone boosters, which I have made a video about, which I will link in the description, which does give some cheaper options. I'm currently using a cheaper option called the Sub-Zero SM7B1, which only cost around £20, probably about $25. So there are cheaper options out there, but unfortunately you are almost definitely going to need one of these if you want your audio to be loud enough. So this microphone provides excellent vocal reproduction, great for voiceovers, podcasts, singing, anything really where you're using your voice, great for recording videos, live streaming, all the things that I've mentioned throughout this video. It's a really great sounding microphone, and I've not been using it for too long, maybe around 2-3 months now, but I'm very happy with the results. You get a real warm sounding tone to your voice, which is very familiar, and also the build quality and the look of the microphone itself is very professional. So should you buy one? Well, as I said, this microphone is very expensive. It costs around $400, maybe around £340. That is an awful lot of money, especially if you are on a budget. So it is hard for me to definitely recommend this microphone unless you know you definitely need that better audio quality. So if your primary work is doing stuff like voiceovers, where it needs to be as clear as possible, or podcasts, or you're making videos or live streaming where you're already generating substantial income, where you can justify spending that much money on a microphone like this, then that is when I would go for this microphone above any others that I have tried. But if you are on a lower budget or you're just getting started out making videos, then there are plenty of options that you can get pretty good sounding audio, and to be honest, a lot of the time you might not even really be able to tell the difference for a much lower price. Previously to this, and a microphone that I have had for a long time, I used a Shure SM58 dynamic microphone. Again, that needs an audio interface, but only costs around $100. Much, much cheaper, and still sounds great and is a really robust, classic looking kind of microphone. There are also USB options available, so you can get a range of dynamic microphones that just plug directly into a USB port, making things loads cheaper. It's unlikely that the audio quality will be quite as high as them, but the technology is getting better all the time, so there are great options out there. And of course, there are condenser microphones if you need to have your microphone further away. Things like the Blue Yeti are very popular. It's not a microphone that I've used myself because I don't personally need a condenser microphone, but there are definitely great options out there if that's the type of microphone you need. And I'll always say this on any video that I make about audio is, of course, a lot of differences can be made without spending anything just by changing the room that you are recording in. Not necessarily moving to a different room, but if you can add more soft furnishings to a room, cushions, heavy curtains, just moving things in just while you're recording to dampen the sound, make your room less echoey, the better. Now, I'm not recording in an ideal room at the moment. I need to do a bit of acoustic treatment to the room and add a few more soft furnishings. I've got kind of quite plain walls at the moment with a hardwood floor, so the sound bounces around a lot. So as I said, I add those extra things into the room while I record just to help dampen the audio a bit, and there's certainly more that can be done there. So I would definitely recommend trying to do things like that before shelling out for a new microphone, because that might actually be all you need to do. So do you record videos, live streams, or do voiceovers? What microphone do you use? Let me know in the comments below. I'd be interested to know what microphones people are using. But if you've enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel and dropping a like on the video. But until next time, see ya.